I can't find my way back to you until you make amends with the demons you've been through.
Hey, good evening, everyone. This is Robert and Jason with Mr. Texas Real Estate, the world-renowned Mr. Texas Real Estate. This is the Texas Real Estate Radio Network. We appreciate you guys, as always, checking us out every night here, 9 to 10. And you can also catch us on the podcast. If you're watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, please hit the bell, subscribe, like, love, all that good stuff. And we've got a couple things we're going to talk about tonight. So, Jason, why don't you start with current events?
Oh, you just want to get this one out of the way, right? So,
Yes.
all right. So, is everybody watching the Simone Biles thing?
I am not.
You are not.
Bring me up to speed.
So, let me bring you up to speed. So, there's been a little controversy here where allegedly the judges were going to down score her because she's so much better than everyone else.
Oh, got it.
So, she's kind of been in this middle of this controversy. And yesterday, it was yesterday or the day before, she decided for mental health issues that she was not going to compete with the U.S. women's team. And some people are calling it, even the governor's getting involved. It's kind of crazy. So here's what, and then somebody brought up Carrie Strug from the 96 Olympics, who, if you guys remember, she essentially had this really bad ankle sprain, could hardly even walk. But in order for the U.S. women's Olympic team, gymnastic team, to be able to clinch gold, she had to do the vault. Like there was no, and she had to land it. It didn't have anything, be any special, but she still had to do it. And she could, like the woman could not walk. In fact, when she did the vault, she landed and she did, they have to kind of face the judges and do that thing. And then she collapsed and they had to carry her off. And it's my understanding is essentially ended her career. But she got a gold medal out of the deal, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're pulling it up right now?
No, I'm not.
No, you're not. Okay. So what's interesting about this whole Simone Biles thing, and don't get me wrong, I think she's the most decorated gymnast ever. I mean, she's just absolutely amazing, right? But I think this is the point everybody's missing. And I've seen some posts like, well, if you don't, we abuse our athletes, and if she's having mental health issues, she shouldn't compete. And then other people saying you should compete. And so there's all this nonsense back and forth. And here's what I'm going to say.
Let me ask before you go. Are we beyond the point of no return? Can she just tomorrow wake up and say, you know what, I will do it?
No, done.
It's over.
Done. She's done.
Okay, yep.
And she's qualified. I think she's the only, she might be the only gymnast, but I think she's the only American that qualified for all the individual stuff.
Gotcha.
So she could literally rack up another, gazillion gold medals, right? And anyway, so some people are saying, oh, you're terrible, work through it. Other people are saying, go girl, you should, take a mental health break, all that nonsense. I don't think that's the lesson to learn here. Here's the lesson to learn. You're not guaranteed another Olympics.
Yeah.
This might be your last shot at it.
That's true.
I don't believe that to be true but she could get an injury. She could be, whatever the issue is. So here's what I'm going to say Tuesday night. And I'm going to say it anytime I'm on stage. And I'm probably going to pull a picture of the two of them up and put it right next to each other. And it's like, look, whether you agree or disagree doesn't really matter. Here's what I can tell you. You may not be promised another Olympics. So in real estate, you may not be promised another deal that you're looking at today.
Or another boom market like we have now.
No, I can tell you right now.
Not promise this again.
I can tell you right now, this will be the best market the U.S. real estate market has ever experienced between now and 2028.
Yeah.
So Simone may pull out for whatever reasons are, whatever. She's already an incredibly decorated athlete. She decides not to do it, fine. I don't really care pro or con. Here's the lesson to learn. You're not guaranteed another Olympics.
Right.
You're not guaranteed another market like this. And I think that's what everyone is missing. You're not guaranteed tomorrow. You're not guaranteed next year.
Oh, I agree.
In fact, you may be in a position now that may be better than what it is in the future. And if you're not taking action and buying real estate and cash flowing real estate and getting that equity, you don't know what your future holds. And if you don't do it today, it may save your tomorrow. But because you don't pull that trigger, your future may actually not be as bright as you think it is.
She's 99% of the way there. She's there, right?
She's there.
So just imagine not taking the trophies.
Yes.
Right? So imagine having the credit score and having the cash and having the access to mortgages and then not buying anything.
Yeah. And she is... You're not promised another Olympics.
Right.
How would you like to go out where it's like, yeah, I'm having this mental breakdown? Get Tony Robbins on the phone. Right? I mean...
Yeah, somebody. Yeah.
Get somebody on the phone. And what she's saying is there's something called the twisties that they get from time to time, and that is where they can't mentally. When they started doing all those flips and rotations and all that, they can't feel where they are in the air. And she's saying that's kind of like what's going on with me.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, can we get Tony Robbins on the phone?
Can we get someone on the phone?
Can we get and let's be honest, that is not. This is one thing I'm working with a couple of people right now. It's really interesting.
Tim Grover, right?
Yeah. Let's be honest. That's not what the problem is. It's the symptom that's manifesting. It's all this other stuff that's going on.
Right.
So a lot of times in your life, the challenges you're going through, your brain interprets it a different way.
Yes.
So I can tell you right now, that's actually not what her problem is. Her problem is something else on the mental health side, which is fine. We all go through it. And athletes, especially at that level, totally go through it. We need to get Tim Grover. Well, should have happened 2 days ago.
Right.
We need to get Tim on the phone.
Right.
We need to get Tony on the phone. We got to get somebody on the phone that can fix this problem, right? However, again, I want to go back to the real lesson here. Is pro, con, you think you should do it, doesn't matter. The lesson to learn here is you ain't promised another Olympics. Right. When I saw this story, this immediately hit me too. I remember there was a guy, real estate investor, and I followed him on Facebook. This was real early in my career. And he was with one of these gurus here in town. And this guy actually bought real estate. He had some apartments and bought some other stuff. And he said, and he essentially thanked this guy and said, I'm so glad I bought real estate 3 years ago because I didn't know I had cancer. And there's no way I could afford the treatments that I've got now and take the time off from work without real estate. Yeah. That's what it reminded. I don't know why, but that story immediately hit me where I'm like, look, you may be listening to the show right now and you're thinking like, maybe I should do this, maybe I shouldn't. You're not promised a shiny future. You're not promised a better market than today.
Nope.
So you should probably take that because your Olympics might be right now. But Jason, I don't feel like it. Like you don't understand. Like this is going on, that going on.
COVID, man. I just need to get out and just take a little me time, Jason. And we're going to go to the beach and we got this vacation lined up. And then, maybe then we'll look at real estate.
Yeah. Or my business is having problems. Yeah. Maybe I should just go on another vacation or go do this or go to another mastermind. I'm like, no, you need to get to work. It's work time. It's time to go collect the medals.
Yes, absolutely. Get your trophies.
Get your trophies. It's time to go get those trophies. So anyways, that was the lesson learned for me with this whole thing. Because I'm seeing everybody, I'm like, y'all are completely missing what this, you're not promised the next Olympics. It's 4 years away. Mm-hmm. Guys, when the next real estate crash is? Rob is saying the slowdown is 25. I'm saying it's 28.
26, yeah.
Or 26. Mm-hmm. So you're going to wait? You're not promised.
7 years.
You're going to wait
5 to 7 years.
You're not promised you're going to be better in 7 years to take advantage of a lower market.
Right. And as we've always said, the next crash will not hit 2021 prices.
No.
Right? So you want a cheap asset, you just pick them up today.
Buy today.
Yeah. Robert, Jason, hey, we'll be back.
That was what I learned through that whole thing. I'm like, you guys are missing the point.
I like the judge thing. I like that aspect. That's you ever read a book? Well, you probably didn't. Kurt Vonnegut. You know, I don't see you as a Vonnegut guy.
Yeah.
Harrison Bergeron is the name of the book, and they made a short movie out of it.
You want to go ahead and start it up?
And basically, we are in the future, this little dystopian future where you can bring us back, where they want everyone to feel good about themselves. So if you're like an exceptional athlete, they're hindered. Hey, it's
Yes.
Robert and Jason coming back. We're talking about this whole story. I just like the whole the judge aspect of it.
I do too.
Want to leveling the playing field, and there's a great book by Kurt Vonnegut called Harrison Bergeron, which I highly recommend you get. It's a short. I mean, Kurt Vonnegut's like 240, 250 pages. Knock it out in a night. But then we live in a dystopian American society where everyone can be president.
Everybody gets to be a winner.
So it's a lottery, and they pick. Okay, hey, look, A-Rock, you're president for 4 years. We followed the Constitution, right? We all just put a lottery in, and if you're Michael Jordan, then you've got to play with a 40-pound weight on your leg.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're the best, so we got to bring you back to the
That's
equivalent
right.
of everyone else.
Yeah, this is like Jordan's points counting is half.
Yes, right.
I would have loved, and I would have watched her in all her routines and all her competitions. If she said, "Yeah, I'm doing it," and then you see her go out there, and of course she'll just crush it, right? And maybe she doesn't win gold, or maybe she does, but we all know who the real champ is, right? Because you guys are going to downscore her because she's just that good. It's like, well, how about this? And this is classic Jim Rohn. How about don't wish it was easier, i.e., I need a weakened marketplace. I can't compete in this marketplace. How about this? Why don't you wish you were better?
Yeah, be better.
Why don't you just be better?
Stop rooting for the American economy to crash.
Right.
And be better.
Yeah, I would love to see suicides go up and families get torn apart
yeah.
so I can buy cheap real estate. That's really when I hear somebody say that, right. I really want to punch him right in the face.
I mean, I forget who I was talking to yesterday, so some investor. And I said, yeah, everything's looking great. We made all this money. And they're like, oh, my God, that's so great. It's so smart to be there. I'm like, I'm not a real estate genius. This is because 600,000 Americans died and no one bought houses in a 20-month period, right? So I was just lucky enough to be in the place to benefit from it. I'm not a genius. Like, there's no real estate geniuses in this market.
There's none.
We just were prepared. And that's what you can applaud me for. Wow, I'm good, Robert and Jason, you were prepared to move on something when it happened fast, right? But, I mean, 600,000 Americans are dead.
Right.
And there's more COVID cases every day, and the interest rates just went down. There's now a correlation between the spike in COVID cases and the reduction in mortgages, right?
Right, yeah.
So someone's making that correlation. It's like, that's not a happy thing.
No, it's not.
I'm going to take advantage of, almost 2% homestead mortgage.
Yeah.
But let's all back off here. Like, we're not. I see a lot of guys taking victory laps, and I'm like, okay, but just remember, it's 600,000 dead.
Yeah.
Just calm down, right?
Right.
Just, you applaud the people that were prepared, not necessarily the fact that they went out and did the market, because the marketplace is a result of a pandemic and 600,000 deaths and millions of people suffering and not being able to go out and the whole world shutting down, and then explosion is what is happening, and there's supply and demand, all these other issues. Again, we're not geniuses. We were just prepared.
Right.
And we didn't really stop, right? We just kept going on as opposed to everyone else. So that
I'm just,
I appreciate the accolades, but really.
Yeah, really. Well, and I'm getting to the point now where when I really sit down and look at the math and I look at the things that are going on in the marketplace, I just want to start grabbing people by the collar and go, guys, this is not that hard. Like, you buy it, you fix it, you rent it. Like, how hard is that? Like, you're tying your shoes is harder than this at this point.
Well, I mean, that's the problem with the people who are still on the sidelines, still thinking it's 2017 or 18 or 19, right? And then they're like, well, why are Robert and Jason selling $15 million worth of property if they're so successful? I'm taking my profit, man.
Yeah, we're taking some money off the
table. And I'm going to go buy another $30 million. I'm not a dummy. I mean,
we got to get this thing to a bill.
You want me to fit your model, and if I don't, then there must be something wrong with us.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just because you don't understand doesn't mean it's wrong.
Right. It's like, well, what are they doing over there? Well, what do you mean what are we doing over here? We're doing very, very well. I can't wait to get all our investors all their money back, and way better than what we projected on that original fund, right? But because people are like, well, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you wait another 2 years? If you're saying it's 2025, 28, why wouldn't you do it? Well, we'll capitalize those profits too. We'll get there. So we get a lot of that. That's always just like, it's just dumb people. It's just really dumb. It's
Yeah.
like, well, I can't find any listings on my real estate company, so how are these guys doing it, right? They must be something wrong. It's like, yeah, I don't work like you. Nor do I care to.
That's a good point. Yeah. I've been listening to a lot of Jordan Peterson lately, and I've been listening to a lot of stuff. And one of my favorite things Jordan Peterson says is the worst thing you can do is be yourself.
Yeah, that's our problem.
The problem is that you tell yourself, I'm okay with who I am. He made this. He said it's the worst advice because you may have somebody who's dealing with depression and narcissism and all this stuff,
yeah.
and now you're telling it's okay to be who you
Supposed
are.
to be a narcissist, yeah. No,
Yeah.
probably
Oh,
not.
I'm going to be like it's not okay.
Right.
And if you're not successful in this business, it's not okay to stay that way. That is absolutely the worst advice. Just be yourself. No, that's ridiculous. You're okay the way you are. No, you're not. Absolutely not. And here's the fascinating thing. It goes completely against what everybody else says. Jim Rohn says this. The secret to life is growth. Guess what? You're not okay who you are.
Yeah.
That's what that means. The inverse is also
Where
true.
you're at is not okay.
It's not okay.
Yeah, it's not okay, period.
Even right now.
Right now, right. We got to get better.
And then
We got to expand our markets. We got to expand our minds. Get ready to do something else.
a classic, of course, I'm listening to David Goggins, right? And Goggins says it this way. He's like, what are you going to do when you retire at 35, 40?
Right.
Like, you're going to lose that edge. You're going to get soft. You're going to get, like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, I'll tell you one of my personal stories, and I don't think I've told. I think maybe I've told it to you once, and I don't think I did on the radio. I actually had a little singer-songwriter career.
Oh, you have told me this before. Yeah.
So I picked up a guitar when I was hanging out with musicians, and I started playing. And this was before I even got my life straight, right? This was just bumming around from work gig to work gig, and I did some marketing and did some events, and they would pay a whole bunch of money. Then we'd go hang out with all the musicians and just, do what we do. And so I made fun of a musician, and he came to me, and he said, well, let me know when you have your next gig.
Oh.
I said, oh,
Well, we can do that.
all right, let's do it. So I did. And I said, I'm going to do 10 songs, 8 originals, and 2 covers. So I wrote 12 songs, and I played all the bookstores, all the open mics, and all that
funny.
stuff. And I played in front of a group of friends and friends of friends. And when I saw them bopping along and kind of singing and humming, I knew that was a good song. And then I worked with a friend. I said, pick the best 8. We took the 8. We did it. And then I got a show. I got a gig. And there were 230 people in this bar, and it was packed, and they were there to see me. And I played, and it was a big thunder thing. And then my other friend, who was the headliner, he came out. He played, and it was all big applause to him. And then he said, well, now we got to dig down, and we really got to get into it. And I said, nope. This is where I just wanted to see if I could get myself here.
Yeah.
And I could. And the guy who told me to go do my own gig was in the audience and came back and said, I'm really proud of you. And I'm like, thank you. I really did it because this one guy, Chris, called me out.
Yeah.
And I did it, and I got 230 people watching, and I did the whole thing. I wrote all these songs and went in the studio and all this other stuff, and I did it. And I feel like, okay, I don't need to do anything else there,
Yeah.
right? So, like everyone says to me, Rob, you're not going to retire. I mean, you'll of course you work. I'm like, I agree. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Because I'm always up for a challenge, and I want to be the best at what I do, or just like get to my
Right.
level of best. It just may not be single family houses. Like you're not.
That's
gonna
right.
See me walking through kitchens with roaches and mold and all that other stuff. Again, I want to be the best. Maybe I'm the best turtle egg finder, right?
Yeah.
In South Padre Island, like I'm the guy out there with the van and all this equipment. And I get the most turtle eggs. And I save the most turtles every year.
Yeah.
Right, that doesn't mean my life is bad. It means I'm still exceeding. I'm still growing.
Right.
Figure things out. And I think that's what people are kind of missing on this whole journey. Anyway, this is Rob and Jason. We're at the world-renowned Mr. Tex Real Estate. We'll come back and talk about something else.
Talk about something else.
Yeah. There's all this thing about, it's like, again, I'm not in this business to be you.
Oh, that's a good. Whoa, let's save this rant.
Right? I'm not in this business to be you. So I don't care what you say about me, because the numbers in the boxes tell the story.
Yeah. Jason Bible, welcome back. So I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk this morning, and I like Gary's small burst, right? And he had this really good point. He said, look, life is not either or, it's and, which it goes back to your point. And you had said something during the break. It's like, I'm not doing this the way you do it. Mm-hmm. I'm not living my life the way you do it. However you do it, I mean, it's up to you, man. It's your life. Yep. It's like, whatever you want to do, dude. Like, no big deal. But this whole idea that you've got to do it this way.
Yeah.
Like my way or the highway. And I'm like, well, I look at it goes back classic to like the guys are like, I've been in real estate 25 years. And I'm like, dude, what is your net? And you're still doing that?
Yeah, you're still here.
And you're like, I see your other businesses and like, you're doing that?
Yeah.
Now, if you have like a real passion for it, but I'm like, I don't get that impression.
Tuesday morning in August in the Heights at a coffee house, and everyone is pumping sweat.
Yeah.
This guy's proclaiming how much him and his family have done in real estate. I'm like, why are you here?
What are you doing here, dude?
Yeah, this is not good.
This is
Move on. Like,
actually, you know what? I do want to know how you got here, so I don't do that.
So I don't have to spend 25 years to get here.
Yeah, because I'm already here. This seems like a big circle here, a big loop, and it's not what we'd call the circle of success.
Right. Yeah. Well, again, we're not doing it so that we can be what that guy is up there. Right. We're not doing it so we can emulate this guy. It's like we're doing it our way. And again, the numbers in the boxes tell the story. So we're okay with everything that's going on. You just don't like the fact that, we do this. Or we bought a big building and that was, oh man, is the building, what's going on with the building? The building's doing just fine. What the hell are you talking about, right? Because I couldn't buy a building or I wouldn't take that risk. Now there must be problems, right? And it's just like, God, man, you know what was on the very first penny?
What's that?
That Ben Franklin made? Mind your business.
Oh, really?
Yes. And that's like, hey, man, mind your own stuff.
Yeah.
The fact that you couldn't buy a commercial building tells me you've got stuff to work on.
Yeah.
And I'll do my thing.
Right. We had somebody over here yesterday doing a little interview, and
oh, that's a good one, yeah.
And she said something interesting. She said, "Hey, where are your salespeople?
Where are the salespeople?
Because we're raising all this money, and we have a real estate, obviously an education company, and we got all this stuff going on, right? And we got all these other companies, and she's like, where are your salespeople? I'm like, well, you're looking at one of them.
Yeah, and the other guy's in the car. You just talked to him.
Yeah, the other guy's Rob. And I said, and Brian's around here somewhere.
Right.
And she's like, y'all don't have like cold calling sales staff and all that? I'm like, no.
No, why would we?
No, I mean, maybe for the education side we'll get to that point, but I'm like...
At least follow up. I agree.
Yeah, like probably not sales, but they're like follow-up people.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you interested in joining? Yeah, we don't have any salespeople.
And that's the thing. It's like we're like, oh, so, Grant Cardone and this guy and this guy, this guy. I'm like, we don't want to be anything like those guys.
I have no desire.
We understand what that business looks like. And the more we get, more people whisper in our ear about what actually goes on in those places, the more I'm like, I don't want that.
I'm not running a boiler room.
I mean, that's what a lot of these guys are doing. A lot of these
I'm not wearing a suit to work.
A lot of these big syndicators are just running boiler rooms, right? Based off of any sort of contact with me.
Yeah, I'm like, we're not running a boiler room.
No.
I'm not wearing a suit to the office. I will have a private plane, but I'm not like, we're not taking videos from the private plane.
No, none of that stuff. And it's
or the helicopter.
And that struck me when that question was asked, where are the sales guys? I'm like, oh, yeah, I get it. This whole thing is just, again, it's in our world where we're growing to, and we've got to get past it. There's a boiler room mentality.
Yeah.
Right? Hey man, something came to my event, and we were all at the chapel, and we're all going to be successful, singing and dancing. Call them up right now. Find out how much they got in their Roth, how much they have in their 401k. Let's get them to invest. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, we don't do any of that.
It's like, here's the deal. You like it? Yeah, I like it. I don't like it. Okay, we're good.
Right.
Next.
I'm not calling you again about it.
Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah.
That's fine. If someone calls us and we go, hey, this is what we're doing in our fund, or this is, a friend of ours, and they're like, hey, look, tell me a little bit more about the syndication. They're like, I don't know. Maybe I'll just buy some single family houses instead. I'm like, okay. There's no follow-up. I'm not calling a month later, hey, bro, how did those single family rentals go? Do you know you could have been in this syndication? We did X, Y, and Z. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm just not doing that.
I had a warm call in the mastermind yesterday, and the guy's sounds like he's successful, and he needs some help in organization. He's probably more in the 25% of our group than the 75.
Okay.
The 25 that want to build out a big business, got
Yeah.
friends, family, already got the organization, needs the path, right?
Yeah.
And I had the conversation, and it's like, hey, there's a deal through the end of July if you want it. If not, no big deal. I'm not going to follow up on the guy.
That's what's so funny.
That's
So,
it. I mean,
so our deal right now, I haven't been putting that in his emails, but we're taking $2,500 off if you
this year and next year.
This year and next year. So total savings of $5,000 if you've signed up with a real estate guru.
Yeah. Well, this guy's he bought the backpack.
Oh, he bought the backpack. Okay. And so it's $10,000 instead of $12,500. And I get this all the time where somebody says, well, now we may actually extend it through August, but
It should be a summertime special.
it'll be a summertime thing. But let's say September 1, they'll call us and go, hey, so I can get that deal for $10,000. I'm like, no.
No.
We did this last time when we did it from 10 to 7,500. Somebody said, well, if I sign up like tomorrow, I'm totally going to get that discount. I'm like, no. Why would I?
Yeah.
I told you when the special ends, right? It's over. Like happy hour does end, and then the regular prices start.
Yes.
So you can get this happy hour price or not. I don't care.
Right. And then there's not much more of a conversation after that, right?
No.
And it's usually when they're calling and vetting, they're like, is it true? Could it possibly be true? It's like, is it true that we brought 13 properties to our members this month? Yeah, that's absolutely true.
That's true.
Yeah, we took a little bit of a wholesale fee, and no one had a problem paying it because they're all well under market.
Yeah.
God, it's amazing. What about money? Yeah, we've got one person in our office who does nothing but call lenders, work with them, whether local, national, find money for you guys so you're working at the best rates and the best terms. Really? Yeah, really. It's like you don't just pawn us off when you got a referral fee.
No.
I'm like, no, we don't need to do that. No, we want to work here.
But the secret is we have to do this already for us.
It's everything we're doing for ourselves, right? So
all we're doing is just offering it to other people.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
I have to we have to search out loans to get the best
Yes.
best deals,
Every
right?
day, yeah.
We've got to constantly find deals because we're buying them, like in our funds and syndications, everything else. So it's like we're just allowing you to come along with us on the
that's
ride.
it. Yeah, it's like, is it so you really meet and everyone work? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, we're just
Yeah, we're really pushing. Yes, absolutely. And so that's usually it. Because they bought something else that wasn't what it was, right?
right.
And we don't make any false claims, and we really downplay all the benefits, right? Because they're just
Right.
Someone asked me, I was like, oh yeah, we do that too. We'll hook you up with that. Yeah, we know that guy. Yeah. It's like, oh, I totally forgot. We should probably put that on the website
Yeah.
somewhere, right? But we don't because we don't have salespeople here.
Yeah, we have no salespeople here.
There's no salespeople here.
We're just now hiring professional people.
We're just hiring a real group of professionals around us. And if you want to talk about a syndication, if you have a relationship, great. You want to talk about our fund, great. We'll get on the phone and talk to you about it. But it's not going to be. I'm not going to pester. When can I follow up on? But no. If you tell me you're in, then I tell you what happens next. Fine. Jamie's going to call you tomorrow morning. We're going to send you an email. You need to start the wire transaction. We'll send over to PPM. You got to go ahead and sign it. Mm-hmm. If you tell me you're going to think about it, I don't bother you.
We're not sending all that over.
Yeah, we're not going. Yeah, we're good. Think about it. Let me know. Yep.
Because then we get the guys who are like, oh, what are they really doing? And I'm like, this isn't free education for me to teach you how to put together a fund.
Yeah, those guys. It's like, well,
Hey, man, could you just send over everything? No.
that's and then they think like they got something, right? I tricked Mr. Texas Real Estate into sending over their PPM. I have their PPM.
Oh, my God.
I was like, yeah. What are you gonna do with it?
Nothing?
What
Like you haven't done in the last 2 years?
Right, what are
You're
you
just going to do
with it?
nothing?
It doesn't work that way. You got to go through an attorney, brother. I mean, the way we set it up is going to be different than the way you set it up. We know who our investors are. We know what the payouts they want, right? So that was always a big thing, right? It's like, I hacked the Fortune Builder database. I have all their PDFs. I'm like, great, what are you going to do with it?
I don't know. Sit there and read them all
I got
day.
them all there. I got 265 documents. Great, what are you going to do with it?
Now what do you do?
Right. Hey, this is Robert and Jason, world-renowned Mr. Texas Real Estate. We'll be back. That was another guy, right?
Yeah.
I got it. Man, there's a back door, and you get everything that Fortune Builder has. Okay, what are you going to do with it?
Okay, now what?
Now what? I was like, is there anything in there that you haven't already heard? I mean, what are we talking about? I think I'm going to do my own little Facebook Lives, and I'm gonna call it "Another Idiot in Front of a Whiteboard."
Oh, that's perfect.
And I'll do math that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, oh, there you go.
So I was watching some guy, talking about how great he is at real estate, and I'm like, that math doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
That's another idiot in front of a whiteboard.
All right. Welcome back. Jason Bob and Robert Orfino, Texas Real Estate Radio Network. That's like, who was that? loser with the black glasses that had the Lambos in the library in his garage.
Well, he did really well. He bought all those brands, right? He got someone to buy them.
He suckered somebody in. Yeah. Because if you ever watched his real estate stuff, you're like, bro, that's not how that works.
Yeah, I know. That was all not real.
Oh, it was totally not real.
Yeah, he was raising money for other stuff.
Who has their library in their garage?
Yeah.
You don't do that in Texas because you're not going to have a library too much longer.
It'll be eaten or just moldy.
Here's my Lambo.
Yeah, so I just, and then
I can't wait to buy a Lambo because we're just going to make fun of those guys all day long.
I'm not buying no damn Lambo.
I'm buying one just so we can make fun of it.
Can't even get in the damn Lambo. What are you talking about? Not for me. Let me know when they make an SUV. I'll think about it. Right?
They do. They make an SUV. Just so happens. What do you think, A-Rock? We're just going to do parody videos with guys with Lambos all day?
Lambos, yeah.
He's good
funny.
for it.
Another idiot in front of a whiteboard.
Another idiot with a Lambo.
Another idiot with a Lambo. You can just do the idiot thing.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm an idiot, and but I made a ton of money in real estate.
And here's my Lambo.
But I don't have any cash, but let me tell you what I did, right?
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Anyhow, I was just watching someone on a whiteboard the other day, and it's just like none of it was making sense. But that's not what closing costs. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And anyway, I just like, I'm gonna do my own show. Another idiot in front of a whiteboard. Yep.
I like it.
Yep. Here's my whiteboard. I'm an idiot, and I'm gonna teach you something that doesn't make any sense at all.
So I did a little tour around the city for an event we're gonna host.
Yeah.
And for this new podcast. And it's been funny meeting with the owners or the event coordinators of these things. Because when you start talking numbers, they're like, whoa, 250 people? Like, ooh.
Yeah.
You're going to kind of take over my bar here. I'm like, well.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And we're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
Right? So, and then the podcast thing is actually kind of funny too. So I'm looking for locations and I'm going to different spots. And like I said, I'm talking to the event people, I'm talking to owners. And it's been kind of funny doing that whole process. But actually, I just thought of a place we could do it that doesn't get that busy, but it's got a decent backdrop. I'll have to call those folks today. But anyways, so it's just been funny doing this whole thing. It's like, well, how many folks do you bring? Like, you think, oh, we're bringing in a group, like 10 or 15?
No, a little bit longer.
No, and we're probably gonna have to kick some people out because it's only for 250 folks. Right. So, anyways, it's pretty funny. But so we're having this conversation. It's like, yeah, we're a real estate company. We do X, Y, and Z, and they're like, I don't think we'd be a good fit for you guys. And I'm like, no, you'll be. This is not like the traditional real estate seminar you're accustomed to, right? So anyway, and then of course, but being able to actually speak and teach people is kind of the important piece of this whole thing, right? This is how we do it. You can do it however you want,
right?
But this is how we've been doing it. And to your point, you said something interesting the other day where it's like, no guru teaches you how to buy properties in an up market like this.
Yeah, there's not a lot of programs out there.
I haven't seen a single one. I see a lot of, this is how to buy a foreclosure and a short sale and all that. And I'm like, yeah, that's great.
It's easy to buy in a down market.
Super easy to buy in a down market.
It's better to know where the bottom is.
Yeah. But to buy in an up market, which by the way, is most markets.
Yeah. This country, yeah.
It's most markets.
Yeah, I think Bruce out in California had an interesting spin on it. I'm not sure he understood how I was interpreting it, but he the up market, and we talked about it in our mastermind, you're going to add on right now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do ground up. I would add on. I would find that 900,000, 1,100 square foot house that's going to hold that $300 a square foot and add on.
Well, I'll tell you. Let's just take it down to that little beach house I'm buying.
Sure.
I think you hit $1 million valuation at 1,600 square feet, and we're buying it for $380. So I think you buy it at $380. You add 1,000 square feet.
Sure.
Let's call it $225,000 to add 1,000 square feet.
Yep.
You're in for, $220,000.
Sure. And for 600,
you're in for 600.
1.1. Yep.
Probably at $1.1 million valuation
this year.
Today.
Not even waiting. It'll be 1.7. When by the time you're ready to sell, move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, we had a great mastermind this last weekend, and one of the things we talked about was, what do you want, and what are you waiting for?
All right, I'm going to bring this up because it's something I'm studying right now. Listened to a podcast this morning. I was in the gym. It's amazing. Post-COVID, fine with lifting weights. Once I get on that bike over there, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
And I found out from Brian, it's the same way. He's like, I can't even play offense at soccer. Like, they stick me in the backfield. I just kind of hang out here and chase the ball around. So Anyway, so if anybody's wondering, we're still on the downhill slope of this thing
for a while.
So here was a fascinating thing, one of the podcasts I'm listening to. It's a behavioral psychology thing. And he said, if you don't know your values and what you're trying to accomplish, how do you expect other people to follow you?
Sure.
And it goes back to, I honestly believe, 100% believe this, that the reason most people are failing is because they really don't know what they want.
Yeah.
And I'm reading a book, and it's by a different guy. And he basically said, look, you can put together all the vision boards you want and affirmations and all, but at the end of the day, if you don't know what you want, and it's not a European vacation and going around looking at exotic beaches and Lambos and big, all that nonsense, that's not what you really want.
I'll take it a step further, and something I've been thinking about and something I listened to was, until you've really hit rock bottom, you don't know who you are.
Oh, that's a good one.
Like, you don't know who you are until you've faced the biggest challenges in your life, right?
I agree with that.
Which is why why the Navy SEALs go through what they're going through.
Well, that's why David Goggins says,
right.
You've got to get hard. You don't know until you really push yourself.
Right. It's not running a marathon. It could just be, how much risk am I willing to tolerate, and taking the punch in the face and saying, hey, I can get up and go do this again.
I'll tell you, we lost, this is way back in the day, I lost $250,000 on one house. I may tell that story sometime. But here was the real lesson. I'm like, look, I could lose everything and still come back. And in fact, I think we could build it even faster.
Yep.
I mean, we effectively started all this stuff 2 years ago from nothing.
Right, yeah.
I mean, granted, we had some money.
Which is essentially what we're doing.
Right.
We're selling the 17 million so that we can move even faster now, right?
That's right.
So, yeah. But again, until you really know who you are and then you know what you want, you're just lost. You're just lost. You're just, you're and this is why you keep buying these $997 or $10,000 or $25,000 packages, because you think they're going to tell you who you are and what you want, and it's not it. You got to figure that out.
Yeah.
You really have to figure it out, and then, that what that risk tolerance is going to really tell you where you should go. Mm-hmm. And if you're adverse to risk, then you should not be in real estate.
You shouldn't be in life.
Well, yeah.
Because if you're scared of risk,
there's
like
cocoons and there's comfortableness and stuff like that. And hey, man, you make $120,000, you're going to get your $10,000 a year in your 401k. Maybe you've got something out there. Who knows, right? So yeah, there's a lot of people don't want to. Well, this is 86% of the country is not interested in the entrepreneurial life.
That's true,
right? They're really worried about losing their job.
Yeah, but let's be honest, that's not. It's not the people who listen to this radio show,
right?
Oh,
for sure. But then we're down to really 14%, and of the 14%, we're really talking about what's 7 times 14, right? We're looking at 1.4 times 7, so or divided by 7. We're really looking at maybe 1%.
Yeah, this is a top 1% show.
1%, 1.5% is really who we're talking to, and the folks who are in up to 5% who are trying to get into this. Know thyself, right? I've been talking every time I've been on stage. I've said it for the last 10 years. Know thyself, number one thing, and then understand what your risk tolerance is, and then you can open up the world.
Yeah,
right. It's all yours.
Well, how do you? This is again, I'm going down this Jordan Peterson track. So you've got values, and those values really are ideals. Mm-hmm. And how are you able to adequately judge your activities, results, and the decisions you're making if you don't know what those ideals are?
Right.
Like the ideal sets judgment.
We're gonna go long
in your
here,
life.
Rock.
Oh, we're still going, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna cut into that 3.5.
Okay. So how do you adequately become successful if you really don't know what your ideals are?
Yeah, that's. Yes, and I know the Lambo, and all, but you're right. A Lambo is not an ideal.
No.
Right. My beach house is not an ideal.
No.
Right. Sitting back and looking back on my life and saying, man, there were like 4 or 5 points in my life that were horrible. And the first thing is, I don't want to ever do that again. So how do I fix that? Second, there were 4 or 5 points in my life that were absolutely fantastic. So how do I get that high again? Mm-hmm. And, one of the greatest points of my life was I did a charity event that no one thought would be successful, and it was just a small town, small college thing, But I raised $25,000 out of this little event. The guy came up to me. He's like, "Man, I didn't think you'd raise like $1,500. This is absolutely amazing." And I did it. And it's just one of those things. It's like, "Hey, let's go do another one." I was like, "No, I did it.
Yeah, we checked this one.
I'm taking this high. I'm recording it into my long-term memory, and I'm feeling really good that, hey, at another point in my life, I'm going to go back and I'm going to go raise money for causes that need money. Right? That's something I'll do in retirement because I know how to do it, and I feel good about doing it. Right? So how do I get there? Well, I got to produce $25,000 a month passive income.
Yeah.
Right? So that I can have the time and dedication to do that because it's really hard to be in the charitable world and not have any sort of passive money, right?
Well, so here was an interesting conversation. I was hanging out with some guys last night, and I was telling them, like, you and I are supposed to take 2 months off a year.
Yep.
And I was having this reliving this kind of conversation I was having with somebody in my past, and they were like, "Well, what are you going to do?" I said, "Well, I mean, you can kind of do a vacation thing. I'm good for like 3 or 4 days, 5 days. I'm like, all right, now we got to go do something productive." I said, one of these guys has got a hookup with a turtle rescue in Mexico. So I'm like, well, let's fly down to Mexico for 2 weeks and let's get to work doing rescuing turtles.
Do
right?
it. Yes.
Let's actually do it. And I said, I've always wanted to do the living water stuff in Africa. Like, always wanted to do that. My background's in environmental science. I'm like, I understand the engineering behind it. Let's go do water well. Let's do that for a couple of weeks.
Right.
So it's like, that's really, now you start to get into what your ideals really are.
Right. And my ideals have never been real estate.
Right.
It's just a means
or
to
a
an end,
Lambo.
right? Or a Lambo.
Turtles don't care about your Lambo.
I don't have a. My ideal is not a 15% return, right?
Yeah.
That's not my ideal. I have got bigger things, and I've got people I want to take care of and make sure that they never hit those lows again. And so once you understand that, I think this world opens up to you. We got to end this thing. So
all right. We'll see you
Thanks
guys.
for checking out. We'll be back tomorrow night. Sorry, I didn't mean to grab the last word there.
No, that's all right.